I can still remember the way the air felt that night, heavy, sticky, like it was holding its breath right alongside me. His hands were on my waist, slow, gentle, almost unsure. For a second, it felt familiar, safe. Then something in me tightened, like an invisible thread snapping inside my chest. I pushed his hands away. "Not tonight," I whispered. His brows furrowed, just a bit. A flicker of confusion, maybe even hurt. Did I do something wrong? I shook my head, eyes already burning with a sting I didn't want to acknowledge. No, I can't. Not like this. The silence between us stretched so thin I swore I could hear it hum. He leaned back slowly, hands falling into his lap, eyes searching mine like there was a code he couldn't crack. He'd always known how to touch me, but he never really knew how to see me. I feel like, I started, voice trembling. I feel like you only want me when it's like this. He blinked once. Twice. What do you mean? I mean, when you touch me. When you get close. That's when you look at me like I matter. My voice cracked mid-sentence, and I hated how fragile it sounded. But outside of that, it's like I'm invisible. Something behind his eyes shuddered, like a door quietly closing. So you think I only want you for sex? The word hung between us like smoke. Ugly. Heavy. Real. I inhaled, slow and uneven. I didn't say it like that. But that's what you meant. His voice wasn't raised, but it had that quiet edge that always made me feel small. You're saying everything we have is just about that. No, my throat felt raw. I'm saying I want more. I want to feel wanted. Not just when your hands are on me. Not just when it's convenient. His jaw tightened. You're making it sound like I don't love you. Do you? I asked, so quietly I barely recognized my own voice. He froze. It wasn't the reaction I expected. He didn't rush to hold me, didn't say, "Of course I do," like in all those soft-focused romance scenes I'd secretly built in my head. He just sat there, silent, eyes flickering between me and the floor. And in that silence, something in me cracked. He looked guilty. And the thing about guilt is that it's louder than any confession. I watched him exhale, rubbing the back of his neck like the weight of what I'd said was suddenly pressing on him. "I didn't know you felt that way," he muttered. "I've felt this way for a long time," I admitted. I just never wanted to sound ungrateful. The worst part was, he wasn't a bad person. He wasn't cruel or careless. He just loved differently. His way of showing affection was through touch. That's how he proved love to himself and to me. But I wanted more. I wanted the soft words, the stolen glances, the warmth that wasn't just from skin to skin. After that night, things changed. Not with a loud fight or a storm of accusations. No, it was quiet. Almost too quiet. He stopped reaching for me. Not just in the way that used to make me pull away, but in every way. No good morning hugs. No lazy hands tangled in mine when we watched something together. No warmth pressing against me at night. It was as if that single conversation made him believe he was poison, like every touch from him would prove my worst fear right. And I wanted him to prove me wrong. I wanted him to try. But he didn't. The distance crept in like fog at dawn, silent, soft, cold. And before I could understand how it happened, we were just two people sharing the same couch, breathing the same air, but feeling galaxies apart. I started sleeping with my back turned to him. He stopped trying to bridge the space. And in that silence, I began to wonder if wanting to feel wanted was too much. The thing about emotional distance is that it doesn't happen like a storm. It creeps in like a draft through a cracked window, steady and unnoticed until the whole room is cold. That's how it felt with us. Weeks passed, but it wasn't the kind of silence that holds peace. It was the kind that builds walls. He'd sit at one end of the couch, legs stretched out, scrolling through his phone like the screen was easier to hold than me. I'd pretend to be absorbed in some series neither of us was really watching. The glow of the TV flickered over our faces, but the space between us was louder than anything the characters said. I caught him staring once, not at me, but through me. Like he was remembering something. Like maybe, just maybe, he missed the way we used to be but didn't know how to reach for it anymore. The moment I met his gaze, though, he looked away. That broke something quiet inside me. One night, I forced myself to speak. "We don't talk anymore." He didn't even flinch. We're talking now. This isn't talking, I whispered. This is existing next to each other. His shoulders rose and fell in a sigh. I don't know what to say to you anymore. That was the first time he'd ever admitted it out loud, the emptiness between us. I should have been relieved that he acknowledged it, but instead, it felt like someone had pulled the rug out from under me. Then try, I said. My voice cracked at the edges. Say anything. Tell me you're angry. Tell me you're hurt. Just don't keep shutting down. He stared at the wall behind me. Every time I try to touch you, you act like I disgust you. The way he said it, it wasn't cold. It was soft, almost like a confession. I swallowed hard. I wasn't disgusted by you. I needed to feel more than that. He laughed, bitter and low. That's all I've ever been good at, you know? Touching you. That's how I show love. And the second you said it wasn't enough, I didn't know how to be around you anymore. His words stung in a way I didn't expect. He wasn't accusing me. He was just lost. Lost in a love language that suddenly felt like a crime. I took a shaky breath. I didn't want to push you away. Well, he said, eyes still fixed somewhere past me, you did. The silence after that wasn't the soft kind that begged for a hug. It was sharp. Clean. Like the moment after a plate shatters and both of you are just staring at the pieces, realizing you can't put them back together the same way. The next few days blurred together. He started staying out later. Not dramatically. No slammed doors or excuses. Just little shifts, a gym session that turned into late-night drives, a beer with friends that stretched past midnight. I stopped asking when he'd be home. He stopped telling me. And every time my phone buzzed, my heart jumped like maybe he'd say, I miss you. But it never did. It was always something shallow, something practical. Did you feed the cat? I'll be late. Don't wait up. I'd crawl into bed and press my hand against the empty side where he used to hold me. And the part that hurt the most wasn't his absence, it was how easy it became to expect it. One night, I found myself scrolling through old photos. Our smiles. His arm wrapped around me. My face pressed into his neck. We looked happy, uncomplicated. Before I dared to ask for something deeper. Before he began to feel like my presence was a reminder of something broken. I whispered to the photo on my screen, I just wanted to feel wanted. But all I felt was replaced by the silence, by the version of us that existed only in memory. And I couldn't tell anymore if he was drifting away or if I'd already let go first. I don't know the exact moment it happened, the moment where what we had slipped through my fingers like water. Maybe it wasn't one moment at all. Maybe it was a slow, quiet series of tiny fractures, too small to see until the whole thing broke. One morning, I woke up and his side of the bed was cold. Not the kind of cold that says he just left. The kind that says he hasn't been here for a while. His scent used to cling to the pillow next to me. I'd bury my face in it sometimes, breathing in the warmth he didn't even realize he gave. But now, there was nothing. Just fabric. Empty. Dry. I found him in the living room, already dressed, fingers tapping restlessly on his phone. The early sunlight slanted through the blinds, carving soft golden lines across the floor. It used to feel safe waking up to him. Now, it felt like walking into someone else's house. Morning, I murmured. He looked up, startled, like he didn't expect me to still greet him. Morning. His voice was distant. Neutral. That was new. He used to sound warm in the mornings, lazy and soft. Now it was clipped, like small talk with a stranger at a bus stop. I leaned against the door frame, arms folded. Where are you going? Just out. No details. No smile. Just out. Out where? I hated how my voice came out thin, careful, like I was tiptoeing around something fragile. He sighed, slipping on his jacket. I don't have to give you a play-by-play, do I? My chest tightened. You used to. Yeah. Well, he muttered, adjusting his sleeve, a lot of things used to be different. That one cut deep. Not because he said it with anger, but because he said it like a fact. Like it was already decided. He left without looking back. And I stood there in the doorway, sunlight crawling up my bare legs, realizing I wasn't just losing him, I'd already lost the version of him who cared to stay. Over the next week, it became a rhythm. He left earlier. came back later. Sometimes I heard him in the shower after midnight, water running over skin I no longer touched. I would lie in bed, pretending to sleep, breathing slow so he wouldn't think I was waiting up for him. Because I was tired of waiting for someone who wasn't coming home to me. When we did speak, it was functional. Basic. Emotionless. Did you eat? Yes. I'll be late tomorrow. Okay. Every word was a small stone placed on a growing wall between us. I started second-guessing myself. Was it my fault for saying what I felt that night? Should I have just let him hold me, pretended I didn't need more? Would he still be here, really here, if I hadn't broken the illusion? But then I remembered how empty I felt even before that. How every touch felt like a spotlight on everything we didn't talk about. How my chest ached with a need I couldn't name. One evening, I finally cracked. He was on the couch, scrolling through something I couldn't see, shoulders slouched. The light from the screen washed over his face, and I realized I didn't recognize that face anymore. It wasn't the way he looked, it was the way he didn't look at me. Why don't you try anymore? I asked quietly. He froze. I'm still here, I said. I'm still trying to reach you. And you're somewhere else. His thumb hovered over the phone. Then he slowly put it down. His eyes finally met mine, not warm, not loving, but tired. So tired it scared me. I did try, he said softly. But every time I touched you, I saw the look on your face. What look? Like you didn't want me. His words hit like cold water down my spine. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. He continued, you said you felt like I only wanted your body. And I realized you were right. I didn't know how to love you any other way. So I stopped. Because if touching you made you feel unwanted, what else did I have? I felt something break open inside me. You could have learned, I whispered. We could have figured it out together. He let out a shaky breath, like he'd been holding it for too long. I didn't know how. And somewhere along the way, it just got easier to pull away. And there it was, the truth I'd been tiptoeing around for weeks. Not anger. Not hatred. Just quiet, exhausted surrender. I wanted to scream. To grab him and shake him and make him fight for us. But instead, I just sat down across from him, staring at the boy I once loved so loudly, now sitting like a stranger in my living room. And in that silence, I felt it, the slow, quiet realization that love can die without a single scream. It was my idea. That's the part that stings the most. I was the one who suggested we take a break, not because I didn't love him anymore, but because I thought maybe, just maybe, a reset could save us. That if we stripped away the weight of everything we'd become, maybe we could find our way back to what we once were. I remember that night vividly. We were sitting at the edge of the bed, the air between us thick with unsaid things. His arms were folded, and my hands were tangled in the sheets like they were the only thing keeping me steady. We can't keep pretending this is fine, I whispered. His eyes were flat, tired. Then what are you saying? I'm saying maybe we need to step back, breathe. Start from the ground again. His jaw tensed. A break. Not like that, I rushed to explain, my voice trembling. Not to walk away. Just to reset. To remember who we were before everything turned into this cold space. He stared at me like he was trying to memorize my face, or maybe like he was already letting it go. I hated that I couldn't tell which. Okay, he said finally. No fight. No questions. Just okay. And that was it. No grand promises. No, I'll wait for you. Just a quiet acceptance, like he'd already made peace with something I hadn't even begun to understand. The first week after the break felt like standing on a cliff with no wind. Everything was too quiet. Too calm. I still checked my phone every morning, waiting for a message. A meme. A song he thought I'd like. A something. But there was nothing. By the third week, I heard about her. It was my friend Lisa who told me, hesitantly, like she was holding a bomb in her mouth. I saw him, she said gently. At the cafe near the bookstore. He wasn't alone. My heart didn't break then. It hollowed. Like something inside me folded inward and disappeared. She continued carefully. She looked happy. And she stopped. And he what? I whispered. He looked happy too. I bit the inside of my cheek so hard it tasted like blood. He wasn't mine anymore. Not fully, not officially. We were on a break. But the thought of someone else sitting across from him, making him laugh the way I used to, burned like fire under my skin. A few days later, I saw them myself. Not because I was looking. Just because fate has a cruel sense of timing. They were sitting outside the cafe, his hand lightly resting on hers on the table. Her laugh was soft, real. His eyes were on her like she was the only thing that existed in that moment. The way he looked at her. God, I used to be on the receiving end of that look. I froze across the street. I could have walked away. Should have walked away. But I didn't. I just stood there, hidden behind the tree line, my heart pounding against my ribs like it was trying to escape my body. She was everything I wasn't anymore. Bright. Unscarred. A blank page he could write new stories on without my words bleeding through the paper. And him. He looked free. I stumbled home that evening, the air cold against my face. The silence in my apartment felt heavier than ever. I sat on the floor, my knees pulled to my chest, and it hit me all at once, the difference between losing someone and watching them be found by someone else. When I told him I wanted a break, I thought I was buying us time. I thought I was giving us a chance to rebuild. But he was never waiting to rebuild. He was waiting to leave. I checked my phone out of habit that night. No new messages. Just the echo of a choice I couldn't take back. I wanted to feel wanted. And he found someone else who gave him exactly what I'd stopped giving. But the cruelest part? I still wanted him to choose me anyway. Even after everything. I don't know what I expected when I finally saw him again. Maybe some trace of guilt in his eyes. Maybe that hesitant softness that used to crack through whenever we fought, the one that said, I still love you, even if I don't know how to show it. But when I stood in front of him that night, outside his apartment building, all I saw was surprise. The kind that flickers in the eyes of someone who'd already moved on in ways you haven't. He came down the stairs slowly, hands shoved into the pockets of his hoodie, like he wasn't sure if he should be defensive or gentle. Hey, he said. Just like that. As if I hadn't spent the last 3 weeks unraveling in silence. Hey, I echoed, my voice flat. We stood there, the distance between us almost tangible. I could smell his cologne, the same one I used to bury my face in at night. It hit me like a memory I didn't want to feel. I saw you, I finally said. He blinked. What? At the cafe. My throat tightened. With her. The corner of his jaw flexed. He didn't deny it. Of course he didn't. Yeah, he said quietly. I figured Lisa might tell you. I forced out a laugh that didn't sound like me. Wow. So you knew I'd find out. He looked away. I didn't hide it. The air between us grew sharp, cold, too honest. Who is she? I asked. Someone I met, he answered. She's easy to be around. I don't have to overthink everything. I can just be. I swallowed hard, my fingers curling into fists at my sides. Easy. I used to be as easy. I thought we were taking a break to figure us out, I whispered. He finally met my eyes. I thought so too. But then I realized maybe we'd already figured it out. We're just too scared to admit it. It wasn't said with cruelty. It wasn't shouted. That was the worst part. He said it like it was simply true. Like love had quietly expired without either of us noticing. I loved you, I said softly, my voice trembling. I still do. His breath caught, just barely. I know. And you're just done? He stepped closer, close enough that I could feel his warmth again. But it wasn't the same. It didn't pull me in like it used to. It just reminded me of everything we'd lost. You made me feel like a villain, he said, his voice almost breaking. For loving you the only way I knew how. I started questioning every touch, every kiss, like I was doing something wrong just by wanting you. And when you suggested we take a break, it felt like a door closing. Not a reset. A goodbye. My chest ached so bad it felt like my ribs might split. I never wanted to make you feel like a monster, I whispered. I know. He smiled then, a small, broken thing. But it happened anyway. A car passed behind us, its headlights spilling across the pavement. I watched his face in that light, the face I once knew better than my own reflection, and I realized this was it. This was the moment where love didn't die violently. It just faded into something too soft to hold on to anymore. I reached out, fingers trembling, and touched the sleeve of his hoodie. Does she make you happy? His silence was answer enough. I pulled my hand back slowly. Then I won't be the one holding you in a place you don't want to stay. His eyes softened, a storm and a calm all at once. You were never not enough, he whispered. We just forgot how to be enough together. And with that, the final thread between us loosened. We stood there a moment longer, two people who had loved deeply and broken quietly. Then I turned around and walked away, the sound of my own footsteps louder than anything else. I didn't look back. Not because I didn't want to, but because I knew if I did, I wouldn't leave. And for the first time in weeks, I understood that wanting to feel wanted wasn't the problem. Staying where you're no longer wanted was. Like and subscribe. Maybe I was the problem all along.